Hello friends, how are you? This is your Ramakrishna. CBSE English came forward with the prose lesson Madam Rides the Bus. This story is very interesting because it is a very sensitive story about an 8-year-old girl first bus journey into the world outside her village. And it is the introduction into the mystery of life and death because she has never seen outside world. Always she used to stand at the gateway and watch whatever happening in front of her. Before going into the session, if we look into these words, we can get some picture what type of story it is. You see a set of passengers getting onto the bus, getting off the bus, the platform, ticket please, the conductor, roar and rattle, row of seats, slowing down to a quick crawl, blowing a whistle. This all usually happens in the village buses. And when we are taking the journey, we can see rivers, green fields, hills, roadside shops, marketplaces, railway track, a moving train, vehicles on the road, and trees, a crowd, clothes shops, animals, etc. Let's come to the point. In this story, a girl named Wali Ammai. Everyone used to call her Wali. She was 8 years old and she was very curious about the things. Most of her pastime was just standing at the front doorway of her house, just watching what was happening in the street outside. She doesn't have any friends of her age on the street, those who are playing. And this was all about she had to do. But for Wali, standing at the front door was every bit as enjoyable as of the elaborate games other children played. Watching the street gave her many new, unusual experiences. The most fascinating thing of all was the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. It passed through her street each hour, one going to the town and one coming to the back. The sight of the bus filled each time with a new set of passengers was a source of unending joy for Wally. Day after day, she watched the bus as gradually a tiny wish crept in her head. As she is watching the bus daily with the new passengers, one bus is going up and one bus is coming down. Every hour she used to see that. So she got a desire. She had a wish. She too want to enjoy the bus ride. This wish became stronger and stronger. As she was watching the bus daily, she got the desire to have a bus ride. Wally would stare wistfully. She was staring at the bus. Wistfully means for a long time, standing there at the people who got on or off the bus when it stopped at the street corner. Their faces would kindle in her longings, dreams, and hopes. Kindle, set a light or her feelings. Their faces would kindle in her longings as she was dreaming of the bus ride, waiting long time for one bus gone, another bus to arrive. She had a hope. If one of her friends happened to ride the bus and try to describe the sights of the town to her, sometimes she used to go out into the village streets. So she used to talk to her friends sometimes. So many of her friends who had the bus ride, the same bus which she was watching from her front door, they described it. So she became jealous to listen and would shout in English, proud, 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 when they were experiencing, they're sharing their experiences of their bus ride. She used to say, proud, proud. It is usually a slang expression. That's it. Over many days and months, Valli listened carefully to the conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used the bus and also asked a few discreet questions here and there. This way, she picked up various small details about the bus journey. As she was listening from her friends, she became very curious to have the bus ride. The town was 6 miles away from her village. She got the knowledge of the village and the town, the distance, whatever are there on the way, everything. So it was 6 miles away from her village, and the price ticket fare was just 30 pice. 30 pice it is just for us, but in those days for her it was almost nothing at all. But for her it was high amount. She heard one well-dressed man say, but only who scarcely saw that much money from one month to the next. It seemed a fortune. In her experience, one day, one man who explained her about 30 pice means how much huge amount it was. So she thought of first earning, saving the money. The trip to the town took 45 minutes. So she got it was 6 miles and 45 minutes of journey. On reaching down, if she stayed in her seat and paid another 30 pice, she could return home on the same bus. So she needs 60 pice. This means that she could take the 1 o'clock afternoon bus, reach the town at 1:45 and be back home about around 2:45. On and on went her thoughts as she calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. Now let us check what was Valli's favorite pastime, watching the outside things standing at the door. What was the source of unending joy for Valli, watching the bus, one bus coming into the village, one bus going out of the village to the town. What was her strongest desire? Her strongest desire was to have a bus ride. What did Valli find out about the bus journey? Because she heard from her friends who had this bus journey. It was 6 miles away from her village, and on the way she can find a running train, running a railway track, and a running train, moving trees. So she became curious to have a bus ride. What do you think Valli was planning to do? So she started planning to have a bus ride from her village. Well, one fine spring day, the afternoon bus was just on the point of leaving the village, turning into the main highway, when a small voice heard shouting, "Stop the bus! Stop the bus!" And a tiny hand was raised commandingly. Tiny hand, whose hand? Nothing but Wali. The bus slowed down to crawl. Slowed down to a crawl means slowly it slowed down and slowly it was stopped. The conductor sticking his head out of the door. He kept his head out and he was looking. Hurry then, tell who you are, it is so come quickly. It's me. I'm the one who has to get on, she said like that. But now the bus has come to a stop and the conductor said, "Oh, really? You don't say so." Yes, I simply have to go to town, still standing outside the bus. And here is my money. She showed him some coins. Okay, okay, but first you must get onto the bus. And he stretched out of his hand and never mind, I can get on by myself. You don't have to help me. The conductor was jolly sort, fond of joking. The conductor was a little bit uh, having likes to have fun. Oh, please don't be angry with me, my fine ma'am. He pronounced her as madam because, as a child, thinking child, he wanted to help her. He gave her hand, but she rejected. So he started calling her madam. Here, have a seat right up there in front. Everybody move aside, please. Make a way for madam. Just we can understand the love and affection towards the girl of the conductor. It was the slack time of the day. Slack time of the day means nothing, no work. And there were only 6 or 7 passengers on the bus, very less crowd. They were all looking at Valli and laughing with the conductor because conductor was saying make way for the madam. So they thought someone came, but All of a sudden, it was a small girl, so they started laughing. Wally was overcome with shyness. She became guilt. She felt insulted. Avoiding everyone's eyes, she walked quickly to an empty seat and sat down. Okay, as per the instructions by the conductor, she was sitting. May we start now, ma'am? The conductor asked, smiling. Then he blew his whistle twice. The bus moved forward with a roar. Right, right. It was a new bus. Its outside painted gleaming white with some green stripes along the rides inside the overhead bars shone like silver. Directly in front of Wally, above the windshield, there was a beautiful clock. The seats were soft and luxurious. Wally devoured everything with her eyes. She just had a glance at everything inside the bus. But when she started look outside, now she started looking outside. She found her view cut off by canvas blind that covered the lower part of a window. Canvas blind means black cover on the glass that almost edge part, bottom part of the glass was covered, and above her she was started looking it outside. She stood up on the seat and peered over the blind. The bus was now going along the bank of canal. The road was very narrow. On one side there was a canal, and beyond it palm trees, grassland, distant mountains, and the blue sky. And the other side was a deep ditch, and then acres and acres of green lands, green, 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 as far as the eye could see. Oh, it was so wonderful, she thought like that. Suddenly she was startled by a voice. Sudden surprise. Listen, child, you should not stand like that. Sit down. Sitting down, she looked to see who had spoken. It was an elderly man who had honestly been concerned for her, but she was denied by his attention. There is nobody here who is a child. I have paid my 30 pice like everyone else. The conductor shimmed him. Oh, sir, but this is a very grown up madam. Do you think a mere girl could pay her fare and travel to city all alone? Wally shot an angry glance at the conductor and said, I'm not a madam. Please remember that. And you have not yet given me my ticket. I will remember. Mimicking Eva. I will remember. Everyone laughed and gradually Wally too joined in the laughter. The conductor punched a ticket and handed it to her. Just sit back and make yourself comfortable. Why should you stand when you have paid for your seat? Because I want to. Standing up again, she answered. But if you stand on the seat, you may fall and hurt yourself when the bus makes a sharp turn or hits a bump. That's why we want you to sit down, child. I'm not a child, I tell you. I am 8 years old. Of course, of course. How stupid of me. 8 years, my. The bus stopped. Some new passengers got on, and the conductor got busy for a time. Afraid of losing her seat, Wally finally sat down. An elderly woman came, sat beside her. Are you all alone, dear? Asked Wally as the bus started again. Wally found that woman absolutely repulsive. Repulsive means here causing dislike. No one will like her. Such a big hole she had in her earlobes, such ugly earrings in them, and she could smell the betel nut woman but chewing the sea betel juice that was threatening to slip over the lips at any moment. Oh, who could be sociable with such a person? Yes, I'm traveling alone, she answered curtly, and I have got a ticket too. Yes, she has on her way to town with a 30 pice ticket. Oh, why don't you mind your own business? But she laughed all the same, and conductor laughed. But the older woman went on with her driver. Is it proper for such a young person to travel alone? Do you know exactly where you are going in town? What's the street? What's the town house number? You need not bother about me. Can take care of myself, Polly said, turning her face towards the window and staring out. Her first journey. What careful, painstaking, elaborate plans she had to make for it. She had thriftily saved whatever stray coins came her way, resisting every temptation to buy peppermints, toys, balloons like. Finally, she had saved a total of 60 pies. How difficult it had been, particularly the day at the village fair, but she had resolutely stifled a strong desire to ride the merry-go-round, even though she had the money. After she had enough money saved, her next problem was how to slip out of the house without her mother's knowledge. But she managed this without too much difficulty. Every day after lunch, her mother would nap from about 1 to 4 hours so. Polly always used these hours for her excursions as she stood looking from the doorway of her house, or sometimes even ventured out into the village. Today, these same hours could be used for her first excursion outside the village. The bus rolled on, now cutting across a bare landscape, now rushing through a tiny hamlet or the past an odd wayside shop. Sometimes the bus seemed on the point of gobbling up another vehicle that was coming towards them, or pedestrian crossing the road. But lo, some it passed on smoothly, leaving all obstacles safely behind. Trees came running towards them, but then stopped as the bus reached them and simply stood there helpless for a moment by the side of the road before rushing away in the other direction. Suddenly, Willie clapped her hands with glee. She was very happy because a young cow with a tail high in the air was running very fast right in the middle of the road, right in front of the bus. The bus slowed down to a crawl, and the driver sounded his horn loudly again and again. But more he honked, the more frightened the animal became. Faster, galloped always right in front of the bus. Somehow this was very funny to Wally. She laughed and laughed until there were tears in her eyes. To her satisfaction, she laughed and laughed. So while laughing, he had seen and he asking, "Hey lady, haven't you laughed enough? Better save some for tomorrow. Don't laugh all today only. Save it for tomorrow." At last the cow moved off the road and soon the bus came to the railroad crossing. Now it crossing railroad. A speck of train could be seen in the distance. A speck of train means the train at a long distance it looked like a speck, a small dot, and slowly as it is approaching, it growing bigger and bigger and drew near. Then it rushed past the crossing gate with a tremendous roar and rattle shaking the bus. Even bus got some vibration because of the train speed. Then the bus went on and passed the train station. From there it traversed a busy, well laid out shopping street. Now turning, entered a wider thoroughfare. Such big, bright looking shops. What a glittering displays of clothes and other merchandise, such big rods. Struck dumb with wonder, Wally gaped at everything. Then the bus stopped and everyone got off except Wally. "Hey lady, aren't you ready to get off? This is as far as your 30 pace takes you. This journey is completed." "No, I'm going back on the same bus." She took another 30 paise and gave the conductor. "Why, is something matter?" "No, nothing matter. I just felt like having a bus ride, that's all." "Don't you want to have a look at the sights now that you are here?" "All by myself. Oh, I would be much too afraid." Greatly amused by the girl's way of speaking, the conductor said, "But you are not afraid to come in the bus?" "Nothing to be afraid of that," she answered. "Well, Then why not go to that stall over there and have something to drink? Nothing to be afraid of about that either. Oh no, I couldn't do that. Well, then let me bring you a cold drink. No, I don't have enough money. Just give me my ticket, that's all. I'll be my treat. It will be my treat, not cost you anything. No, 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 please, no. The conductor shrugged and they waited until it was time for the bus to begin the return journey. Again, there were many passengers.